Few gaming experiences quite rival this one. Risk of Rain 2 is something special, something that I've trouble putting into words. It's bombastic, it's addictive, and it's unapologetically unbalanced. This game has a special brand of chaos, a chaos that can only be replicated by those who play the game for themselves. Risk of Rain 2 is a roguelike. No, roguelite, where you're dropped onto unknown lands, with your job being to explore the environment and fend yourself from a variety of enemies that spawn throughout the stage. The longer you take to explore an area, the stronger the enemies become, thanks to the game's unique time-scaling system that functions limitlessly. You can fight your way towards the moon to escape the planet, or loop indefinitely to survive for as long as you can. You can choose from a colorful cast of survivors with their own unique skills that you can customize based on your liking. Do you want to shoot enemies from a distance? Well, you can play Commando. Do you want to get up close and personal with the enemies? You can play Mercenary. Do you want to have fun? You can play Loader. Do you not want to have fun? You can play Engineer. The game offers a survivor for every playstyle. You are bound to find someone who you enjoy playing for various reasons. The survivors even have their own lore, which I did not read. What makes all of these survivors so fun to play is how they react with the environment, or more specifically, with what you find in this environment. You see, while exploring, you'll come across chests that give various types of items. The way these items synergize with the various survivors is the crux of what makes Risk of Rain 2 such a unique experience. You may get a tri-tip dagger, which has a 10% chance of applying bleed to an enemy. If you are a survivor with low attack frequency, this item may not be very useful, but if you were to be playing someone like Commando who has rapid attacks, this item basically carries your run. These items also can stack, so if you get multiple of these tri-tip daggers, the chance of bleed to proc increases as well as the bleed damage. Items don't have to specifically synergize with your chosen survivor to function well, as items like Hopu Feather, which gives you an extra jump, is crucial for avoiding enemy attacks and traversing the environment. There's also Bison Steak, which provides 25 HP to your survivor, who probably has hundreds of HP, but at least it largely benefits the kid of one of the 18 survivors, right? Okay, but what if you stack these stakes? It still gives a flat 25 HP increase, so it still isn't that valuable. But that's for one item. How about Busting Fungus, which heals your survivor if they stand still? Well, with the way enemies are designed, standing still for even a second is a death sentence, so this item is basically worthless. Unless you're playing the most fun survivor, of course. But what if you stack 10 of them? Well, the amount you heal increases, but the time it takes for it to activate is still the same, so either way, you will be dead before the item triggers. So if there are this many items which are potentially dead weight for a majority of the survivors, wouldn't that mean the game is heavily luck based? Well, that is kinda true, but there are certain ways where you can overcome this system. While traversing the environment, you will also come across scrappers and printers. You can recycle your worthless items into scrap and use this scrap at a printer to convert it into another item. So for example, if you're playing Commando and you really need to get tri-tip daggers for your run to work, but all you've been getting are Bison Steak, you can scrap these steaks at a scrapper, then use the scrap to convert them into daggers at a tri-tip dagger printer. It's not like it's impossible to never come across a printer either, as there are certain environments where it is guaranteed for an item printer to spawn. It adds this really strategic element to an otherwise simple looting system, where if you're not satisfied with your current build, you can always tug it out for the first few stages, as you know there will be a stage where a printer spawns for you to alter the quality of your build. You could make sure to loot the entire stage, sacrificing sweet time that causes the enemies to scale harder, or you can clear the stage as fast as possible in order to fight weaker enemies that you can handle with lesser items. Subtle macro decisions such as these add so much complexity to an otherwise turn your brain off experience. These items not only synergize with the kits of specific survivors, but they even synergize and directly interact with other items. Gasoline causes killed enemies to explode and ignite surrounding enemies, this ignition damage being boosted by an ignition tank. Some items can even proc the effects of other items. A missile launched by an ATG missile can trigger the lightning strikes of a ukulele, which could cause the enemy to bleed. This is a proc chain, and entire runs can be built around these potential proc chains, regardless of the survivor. There is no limit to the items you can stack or collect. As you continue looping, there comes a point where you have no clue what is happening on screen. Just pressing left click could cause a chain reactions of items and effects to proc. Stack enough movement speed items and you literally cannot move without your character flying across the map. It's not like the enemies don't pose a threat either. Stand still for more than a second and you probably die from something you can't even explain. These deaths don't feel very frustrating either. Whether or not your run is able to face the hand of God, deaths are almost always preventable in this game, caused by micro choices like focusing on the wrong enemy and staying still for no reason, or macro choices like looting for too long to the point where the enemies scale above your power level. I can only describe the gameplay as a beautiful sort of chaos, one entirely caused by you. There's a certain satisfaction in crafting a build that synergizes perfectly with your survivor and proceeding to mow down every enemy that comes your way. For every item that procs, every enemy that dies, you can hear every instance of it, the sound of a beautiful destruction. And this sound is perfectly complemented by the game's music. Do you know what's the best part about making a video about Risk of Rain 2? It's the fact that I don't need to pick out any music for this video, as the music for this game just goes so hard. If you're an avid watcher of YouTube video essays, I'm sure you've heard some of these tracks be used as background music, like this, or this. Which is only a testament to how universally loved the soundtrack of this game is. The music almost always starts off slow, but as you explore the stage and enemies start scaling, the music also starts to pick up the pace and even incorporates more instruments as the song goes on. The songs which do have a quicker pace at the beginning are played on stages like Treetop Colony, which are more dense, with enemies already coming in as you spawn into the stage. The music can even be chill when it needs to be, in the uncommon safe areas you may find. The music is a reflection of the progression and scaling in-game, becoming more frantic and bombastic as more enemies start to come in. Eventually, the song explodes, and it never fails to deliver. I get brainwashed into liking certain stages just because the music is so bloody good. I genuinely hate the layout of Sunlit Grove. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone hates how this stage is designed, but for some reason, they put the best OST on this stage. I purposely spend more time on Sunlit Grove, even though it is literally detrimental to my run, just so that I can get to that drop. The music just has so much sauce, man. It's such an essential part of the Risk of Rain 2 experience. Chris Christodoulou and later Stavros Markonis hit such a slam dunk with the game's soundtrack. If you can't get enough of the game, you can pay for its several DLCs that add mechanics to the game that I honestly can't imagine not having. In general, these DLCs add new survivors, new items, new enemies, and new stages to the game. Survivors of the Void adds Void items to the game, which are corrupted versions of pre-existing items that transforms non-corrupted versions into its Void counterpart. These Void counterparts usually have an effect in a similar vein to their normal counterpart. This Void mechanic genuinely feels like a core part of the original game, even though it is part of a DLC. Seekers of the Storm is the weird middle child DLC, as its main selling point is adding a new path the player can go through, also known for having a very bad launch day, but we don't talk about that. This new path is apparently important to the lore, which I did not read. And then we have Allied Collective, the newest and most polished of the DLCs. It comes with, in my opinion, the most fun survivors, the best stages, well-balanced items, completely new drone types, and a great final boss. And of course, the soundtrack for each DLC is amazing. Chris was genuinely on demon time for the Seekers of the Storm DLC. It is the best soundtrack Risk of Rain 2 has gotten yet. You can also explore the community-made mods for the game, which are completely free. There's tons of mods that I use all the time that give quality of life improvements, or mods that add DLC level content to the game. And then with the nature of community-made mods, you'll also find mods where you can play as Goku, All in all, Risk of Rain 2 is a pure bundle of fun. There's so much to discover in this game, from secrets to item synergies to new achievements. There's always something to do on your path to wiping out the screen with a single click. If you haven't already, you should definitely try out this game. It's hard to come across an experience that's similar to this.